Lorella. I'm product designer at Nolti, and today I will talk about UX audits. Specifically, I'll be talking about what they are, what are the benefits, and I will give you a brief guideline of how to conduct an UX audit. I guess we're all familiar with this quote, what can be measured can be improved, right? I would like to think a bit more about it because one thing that I found and that I also believe is that what can be measured can be assessed, and also what can be measured at the end will be understood better, which, in my opinion, is one of the key objectives to measure a digital product. So, if we talk about digital products, how can we start assessing our product? How can we start understanding it better in order to make improvements to it? That's why we use UX audits or user experience audits. A UX audit is a way to assess a digital product with the objective to reveal areas of improvements that might be causing headaches to users and affecting business goals. Some of the benefits of conducting a UX audit are identify usability issues that might affect the user experience, recognize possible users' needs and level of engagement with your product based on data, detect performance issues that might be increasing the time to complete a task and reducing user satisfaction. So now that we know what a UX audit is and what are the benefits, let's get into on how to conduct one. There are many aspects to take into consideration when we are assessing a digital product, but today we're going to focus only on three of them, which I think will give us a good starting point to discover good opportunities of improvement. The first thing that we need to do is to assess the performance. Sometimes when we think about user experience, we tend to think about visual aspects or the usability of our product, and we neglect the importance and impact of the non-visual elements of the product, like performance. So when it comes to assess the performance of our product, we use a tool like Google Lighthouse. This tool will give us an overview of not only the performance of our product, but also an assessment of other areas like accessibility, best practices, and SEO. Once we run Lighthouse on our product, we are going to see a report like this with specific metrics that are an important part of the user experience. And right away, we're going to be able to see things that we can start improving in our product. The second step that we need to do is to take a look at analytics. What we need to do when we look at analytics is to try to identify patterns that give us information about user engagement and user behavior to have a complete view of what is happening in our product. In this case, we use two analytic tools, Google Analytics and SimilarWeb. Both tools will help us to collect the data that we need. And this is an example of some pieces of information that we can start taking from this type of tools to understand our users a bit more. With this information, we will know what device are they using, if they see value on the content of our product, and from where are they coming from. And lastly, we need to evaluate the usability of our product or how easy our product is to use. Unfortunately for this step, there is no automated tool, but there are guidelines that we should use that will help us evaluate our product. One of the most recognized and respected guidelines in the UX industry are the 10 usability heuristics of user interface design by the Nielsen Norman Group. If you search on Google, you will find a lot of information about it, and you can even find documents with checklists already created of specific things to look at in your product. Once we evaluate the usability of our product, as a result, we will end up with notes of usability issues that you found. So at the end, we will end up with something like this, where we can see the performance rating, information about device distribution, bounce rate, search traffic, and notes of usability issues. So awesome. With all this information collected, it means that now we have a more complete view of our product. We understand it better, and now we are actually ready to start taking actions to improve it, right? Well, not yet. Before that, we need to dig deeper and start making sense of all this information because what is this information really saying? All we see are numbers, and yes, we can start improving the performance of the website, but what issues should we address first? How we prioritize? How do we know which improvements are going to have the most impact on the user experience? So now it's time to connect the dots. And to do that, we need to start looking if any of this information that we have is related in any way. So, for example, if we look at our performance rating, we see that we have a bad score on mobile devices. And then we look at analytics and we see a significant increment on the bounce rate and decrease on the page per visit on mobile. And on top of that, if our data is also telling us that most of our visitors are using mobile devices, then this could be a major problem or a product that we should pay attention to. Let's take a look at another example. Let's say we have a good data in our page. Users are engaged with our site, they're visiting several pages, and the bounce rate is low. And we see several users visiting the contact us page. However, we don't get any leads and we don't understand why. But then we look at our heuristic evaluation and we see that we detected a problem with the contact form. So now, if we connect the dots, this could be a hint of what is happening, and then this becomes an important issue to address that can improve our site significantly. Now that we analyze this information and we identify and prioritize the most important issues on our product based on the data that we have, now we can actually start improving our product by not only addressing any issues, but addressing the issues that will impact the most the user experience of our product. So in a nutshell, measure the performance is the step number one. Number two is to look for patterns with analytics. Three, evaluate how easy your product is to use. And step number four is to analyze and prioritize areas of improvement. So with this, I hope you're ready to start conducting UX audits in order to understand better what is happening with your product, and you can start doing efficient improvements. So that's it. Thank you, and see you on the next lightning talk.